Welcome to Short Time. It is Short Time all the time, everywhere, on your radio, on your app, on your website, and everywhere, too, because we got listeners all over the Garden State.
Buddy.
Dave, good morning to you, my friend.
Good morning to you. You're fired up. I like it. Good time, as always. Looking forward to... What a great show. I mean, obviously, this is every week. I love coming in with these different interviews that we have, but this is going to be a good one. This is going to be a good one.
You know what I'll say? We've had 23 good ones.
There you go.
Out of 23.
I tell you what. And 23, Michael Jordan's number. Big number.
Yeah.
I don't know why I said it, but I just thought of it. There you go.
And it just so happened that last week we had two sports figures on.
Yes.
Frank Trankel with District 18 and Section 3 Little League in New Jersey. And, of course, Frankie Edgar, the UFC fighter.
Yes.
But, Dave, I want to talk today because I know how much of obviously, we're both big baseball fans. You got your Mets, I got my Yankees. Yes. And we've reached... Although technically the official halfway point of the season was like a week ago.
Right.
Major League Baseball had the All-Star game a little bit later this year, and that is Tuesday. So today, the last day of the All-Star break, if you will. So home run derby tomorrow.
Right.
All-Star game on Tuesday.
Right.
We'll see stars from across the game out there, including, of course, Aaron Judge.
Let me ask you. Okay,
is well on his way to an MVP award.
Okay, so, I'm a Mets fan, as you know that. I'm excited. A lot of games that we still need to win. I mean, even though we're doing well, the Braves are right there.
Yeah,
they're
closing in,
tough.
Defending champs.
I know. So it's funny, this time of year, especially with the All-Star break, I'm just looking forward to the second part of the year. I don't get as caught up in the game itself or the home run derby. Am I saying that right? The home run derby?
Yeah, home run derby.
I don't, because I'm like, okay, let's get back to playing ball. It's a nice break for the players, I get it, but it's like I'm looking forward to the second part.
Right.
I just am. You know what, with the Mets, and I love them, and it's just as well as we have been doing. We don't have much. It's going to be close. And you and I spoke about this off the air. It's going to come down to the last week or two of the season.
I believe so. In that division.
It's going to be tight.
Listen, I think, obviously, the Braves swapped out Freddie Freeman for Matt Olson at first base.
Right.
But they have a lot of the returning guys, the defending champs. The Phillies, since firing Joe Girardi, they've suddenly found life in their offense.
That surprised me. But then look what's happened.
We knew their pitching was going to be make or break with the Phillies. Aaron Nola, Zach Wheeler. I was just surprised
by the move, though, with Girardi. Yeah. But again, look what's happened.
They have the offense. Their defense is a little average at best. Yep. But they're going to make a push. They'll probably get a wild card.
Yes,
I think the Braves are the real challenge to the Mets in the NL East.
I agree.
And they're going to go back and forth. And I think, just because of their history, the Mets.
But as a baseball fan, you have to love it. You know what I mean? It's like it's going to come down to the end, and there's so many games to play. But I'll put on my Mets jersey gear, whatever, the hat. It is what it is.
That's the thing, and I hate to bring it up because it's such a monkey on their back in recent history. But the Mets have to show. In the second half, they can just keep their foot on the gas and not have any kind of. Not even just a massive collapse. A minor collapse could cost them a division in August or September.
Of course.
So they got to keep doing what they're doing, find ways to improve the ball club where they can.
Well, I'm going to see, I want to say it's August 20th. I'll be in Philly to see the Mets.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah, so that's a big one. And in fact, that game was one that was canceled earlier in the season, was
that's right.
a rain out.
Yeah, remember you were going to go to that.
So if I'm correct in saying this, the game's going to be at 1 o'clock, and then there is a 7 o'clock. So
it was single admission?
It's to get everybody out of the park, so they'll have the 1 o'clock game.
So like split.
Well, you said single admission. It's not. So basically 1 o'clock, let's say the game finishes up, let's go, around 4. It'll give them enough time to get people out, and then the next game at the 7 o'clock. So that's the way I believe it's going to be laid out.
If they say single admission, why not stay for the second game?
Well, exactly. But let's think about that. I agree with you 100%. But if the game is at 1, you're done by, let's say, 4?
Yeah, 4:30.
You got it's a long day. But again, I'm not against it. I'm a fan. Hey, you tell me I'm good.
2 for the price of 1.
Yeah, there it is. So exciting, looking forward to that. And I do love going down to Philly to catch a game. It's just a great park, great area to catch a Mets game. And of course, not to say I don't like Citi Field, it's just a little bit further and a little bit more challenging. I had to grab a couple trains to make it work. With that being said, I'll be in Philly, looking forward to it. And then your Yankees, listen, give them all the credit in the world. What a year they're having.
Yeah, I mean, listen, I saw a stat. I mean, it's one of the indicators. So 82 games into the season, the Yankees were 59-23.
Uh-huh.
At that point last year, 82 games into 21, they were 41-41.
Yeah. Right?
Listen,
crazy.
We talked about it with Chris Carlin on our show a few weeks ago. The Yankees, even though they finished 90-plus wins, 92 wins, I believe it was, they were just at some points unwatchable last year.
Right.
Even in wins, losses, they just weren't playing runners in scoring positions, sloppy defense, poor base running. They changed out some of the coaches in the offseason, changed out some of their defensive parts, a new third baseman, new shortstop, new catcher. They're just playing better. There seems to be more of an energy around the ball club as well.
Right.
I mean, a full season of Anthony Rizzo we got at the deadline last year. He's on pace to hit 40-something home runs. Same with Giancarlo Stanton. And, of course, Aaron Judge on pace to get 60-something home runs and driving 110 or so RBIs. Right. He's just going on a scorched earth season. I don't think it's necessarily as much to him, if you ask him, of proving himself because of the contract situation where he's a free agent at the end of the year. I think it's more just him finding that next level in his career.
I agree.
And he's a huge part of what the Yankees do in the field, in the lineup, in the clubhouse. They've got such a good team. Obviously some, room to make some additions or subtractions as we head toward the trade deadline within the next couple of weeks. But they're just having a much different season to where you think, like, after all these years of trying to rebuild and figure it out, the Yankees finally have it.
Well, it's exciting. I mean, even the Phillies with, they've gotten it together and they're going to make a push. So if you think about this area, you've got your Yankee fans, you got your Mets fans, and your Phillies fans. It's going to be a fun ride the rest of the way.
I agree. No, I think baseball's better, especially in this area when the Yankees and the Mets are playing well, and even the Phillies.
Right.
As we head from Ocean County down into South Jersey.
Yeah, a lot of Phillies fans.
It just feels like things are just better. I feel like more people are just happy going to work or going to whatever. Like, all right, Yankees won last night. Mets won last night. Did you see the game last night?
Right.
What a game by Scherzer, DeGrom.
Right.
Did you see the grand slam by Aaron Judge?
Yeah.
The Yankees come back again.
Yeah.
It just feels good.
Well, it's exciting.
It's a different kind of season for both teams.
And an excitement that, as a Mets fan, you're look what the Yankees are doing. And maybe, obviously for the Phillies, we got to watch out for them. But you're right. There is an excitement to keep an eye on not only your team, but the other teams in the area to see what they're up to. And the fact that they're all doing well, you get a little excited. Well, maybe, possibly, Mets, Yankees, down the road there. Could it be? We will see.
Another Subway Series.
Well, anyway, again, it's one of those. Let's, we've got the break here, get into the second part of the season and roll up the sleeves and let's see what we can do.
Yeah, I mean, hey, guys got to do what they got to do to stay healthy, stay on the field, and certainly produce as well on the mound, defensively.
Because so much can happen. Hitting. So much can happen.
And there's still so much. With either team.
Right.
There's still room for improvement in certain areas. I mean,
that's one thing.
And if you ask them, they're like, we could still be better.
Correct.
As good as the team is, and the Yankees are the best team in baseball.
Right.
There's
something
still more
could go wrong.
Be done.
Anything can happen. So a lot of fun, very exciting, I should say, and it's great. You and I have such great conversations because we, keep up on each other's teams as well. But looking forward to a great second part of the year.
Of baseball.
Definitely.
So
Absolutely.
It's lots of fun. It's going to be eyes on the TV, ears on the radio.
Yep.
Listen to some ball games this summer. That's another fun part of summer.
Well, that's the
baseball.
Other thing. Well, the other thing too is we
talked about the major league teams. Obviously, we got the Blue Claws, Patriots, and Thunder.
Great point. And that's another thing that's fun is, go to the Blue Claws game. How great is that? Right in our backyard.
Yeah.
Great experience. You get to see some great play and very family friendly. Definitely the cost is a lot more agreeable, if you will. I mean, things are tough. with inflation like we're dealing with, fuel costs to go to either a Mets game or a Yankees game, plus the cost of the tickets, where you can go to a nice Blue Claws game.
It's a great environment, and I'll say this from certainly from following the team this season and doing play-by-play, filling in last month. The Blue Claws have some of the Phillies' top prospects in all their organization, including Johan Rojas. They have some phenomenal talent on the team since they moved last year from low A to high A.
Right.
The Blue Claws have some really talented players on the team. You talk about Little League, right, where you play Little League, go on the majors.
Mm-hmm.
It's been that same concept with the Blue Claws or other minor league teams. Like, hey, who's going to be the next talent? I mean,
Correct.
They have Ryan Howard and Cole Hamels' number retired at Shoretown Ballpark in Lakewood. What Blue Claws, obviously the Phillies have had a lot of other prospects go on to have spectacular major league careers,
right.
all-star appearances and whatnot. But what Blue Claws now could be in the major leagues in the next few years.
And that's the beauty of it. It's in our backyard. It's a lot less expensive to go to the game, but once you're there, you get to see good play.
Yeah.
You get to see up-and-comers or just it's competitive, it's fun, and again, bring the family and just enjoy it.
Yeah, head to Shoretown Ballpark. Check out the Blue Claws. Dave, we got a great show on deck today. Excited to have Neptune City Mayor Andrew Wardell join us in just a couple minutes, talking about what's going on this summer in Neptune City. They just started their Movie in the Park series.
That's right.
So he talked to him about that, about some of the food, including Pete and Elda's, of course.
Okay.
And he's also a history and civics teacher at Monmouth Regional High School.
That.
So he's a teacher and a mayor.
Okay.
And then, of course, in the second hour, we'll have Regina Mullen, the mother of Kyle Mullen, who was the Navy SEAL trainee who died during Hell Week, Navy SEAL training out near Naval Amphibious Base Coronado near San Diego earlier this year. A mom who's also a nurse, looking for some clarity, looking for some answers, and looking for some changes as well in the system. So looking at diving in
looking forward to that
and
conversation.
talking with Regina Mullen. So great show on deck today. Tell your family, tell your friends. Blast up Short Time with Vin and Dave on 94.3 The Point, 105.7 The Hawk. More of the show next.
Hey, this is UFC Championship fighter and Toms River High School East alumni Frankie Edgar, and you're listening to Short Time with Vin and Dave on 94.3 The Point and 105.7 The Hawk. Dave and Vin, these guys are the buzz.
Welcome back to Short Time with Vin and Dave. Vin Avenue, Dave Crossan with you. And joining us here this hour is the mayor of Neptune City, Andrew Wardell, to discuss summertime, summer in Neptune City, and all things going on year-round in Neptune City. All kinds of great things, too, and things coming up this summer. So before we take a dive in, welcome Mayor Wardell.
Thank you very much, Vin. Good to see you again.
Thank you for being here.
Thank you very much, gentlemen. My pleasure.
So, Neptune City, I know you guys have done movies in the park in the past and have done or have started doing so now throughout this summer. So, that's one of the events I want to hit on. So, we'll start there. Where does this take place? What movies can people expect to see this summer?
Well, we just had our first one on July 7th. It was a 6-movie series that we have in our Movie in the Park series that we hold down at Memorial Park. Anybody who's familiar with the Neptune City area knows Memorial Park is a beautiful waterfront park that we have that was dedicated back in the 1950s as a way to honor World War II veterans when they came home. And over the time, my predecessor and myself have really spent a lot of time beautifying that park. So we've built this beautiful area with a gazebo. We purchased an inflatable screen with a projector system and a sound system to put out there and host the movies out there right there in the park. People bring their own chairs. You can bring your snack. You can have dinner down there if you want. You get to come and kind of sit at the sunset right before the movie comes down. So it really, not only is it quite picturesque, but you get to come and watch movies that are usually geared towards families, children and families. Our first one we filmed was Encanto. So I don't know how many people are going to have We Don't Talk About Bruno stuck in their head again for a while. If you have children, you know what I'm talking about. And there are several other movies. We actually have not decided on all the movies yet. We let the public we give them a list, and the public tells us what they want to watch.
Okay.
So we'll see what comes up going through there. I'm fingers crossed somebody picks Little Giants again this year.
There we go.
Yeah,
but to your point, what a great event to get people to come on out, have a movie, family friendly, and everybody since the pandemic is so excited. Get back in groups and just have a good time.
Right. Well, that really was the thought behind it. So when I first became mayor was January of 2020, 3 months before the COVID pandemic hit, and I wanted to find something that people could do, publicly with their friends, with their families, that was still kind of safe and socially distant at the time. And I said, we can do a movie in the park series. So we went out and we purchased equipment. We first looked to rent it, but it was almost as much money to rent as it was to purchase. So why don't we just purchase the equipment? We were able to find another company that gave us a good deal on movies to be able to choose from, because you have to pay for the movies when you can't just bring a DVD down and play it. You know what I mean? There are copyright laws.
Push play, you're good to go there.
If any copyright are out there, police, we do follow the rules in Neptune City. And that's how it started. And they were very well attended and continue to be very well attended. We had an issue last year with, it seemed that it rained every Thursday we did the movie in the park. So they got pushed back, and we wound up doing them all the way into the very end of October. But this year we've decided that if it does in fact rain, we're just moving it right over Community Center to be on the same night. So we have a big like hall in our community center that we'll just film it right there. So
good idea.
Yeah. So I mean, for those that maybe still are not real comfortable, it might not be the best decision for them. But fingers crossed, we won't have that issue.
I mean, with anything in the summer, you always got to keep the fingers crossed for that ever looming threat when it gets really hot of
those
a bad storm.
Afternoon storms. Yeah. Like, you just don't know. Yeah, you just don't know.
kind of puts a damper on things, whether dining or doing other things outside. But throughout this summer, I mean, obviously the movies in the park, a feature that you guys now have in Neptune City and everything. But what are some of the other summertime events or things that people can look forward to this summer in Neptune City?
So, this summer, we always have our national night out, which a lot of other towns do. But the Neptune City Police Department really does an absolute tremendous job of that. It's probably one of our better attended events that we have in the summer. It's usually in August. And I have to give credit to the NCPD for the work today. It really is a wonderful event. Our Board of Recreation usually hosts all kinds of events, games. We do a lot of family games. We try to do kickball at the park where you try and invite people down. And our police are great because they'll come and they'll compete with the kids and stuff like that. One of the initiatives our police took this summer, all on their own, is they went out and they bought hundreds of gift certificates to the local ice cream shops. There are 2 different ice cream shops in town. We have a Cone Zone and the ice cream shop in town, both very popular.
Nice.
And whenever they are around town, they see kids doing what they think is the right thing to do. They reward these kids.
I like that a lot.
With gift certificates to go get ice and let them know, we see what you're doing the right thing, and you should be rewarded for doing the right thing. And I think it's a great program.
Sure.
So not only these kids get a free ice cream, but they get the chance to be recognized by the police as doing something right.
And they're looking for other opportunities to do good things to get another gift certificate.
Listen, nothing works better than bribing children. Bribing children ice cream works fantastically. All right. So the police have done a really good job with that. We also have, and this, I guess technically is not summer because it's September 27th.
Yeah, local summer.
The local summer, right?
Yeah.
September 27th. Neptune City is going to be hosting their first annual Fall Food Truck Festival.
Oh, that's cool.
Which will be also held down at Memorial Park. We have 5 food trucks confirmed currently. We're doing the first year a little smaller just to see how it goes. We're not quite sure what the attendance is going to be like. We're not sure what our capacity can hold as far like that. So we're going to have 5 different food trucks, 4 selling entrees, 1 dessert truck going to be down there. We have a lineup of live music acts that are going to play, which thank to all of them, they agreed to do at no cost for our first year. We don't really have any money to pay anybody.
That's great.
So they volunteer. We have a lot of musicians in town that volunteer to do the service. We have games and activities going on. There will be a beer garden as well that we're going to have. There's going to be all kinds of activity. That's going to run all day on Saturday, the 27th of September. I believe noon to 8 is the time.
There we go.
Noon to 8. And, hopefully you'll be well attended, and in the future we can make it bigger. We're working on an antique car show right now. Right now that's still in limbo. So I don't want to say for sure that's going to happen right now. We're working on it. All right. Hopefully we can get that. But that's going to be at September 27th.
Yeah, those are popular events. They wish you well with that.
They really are. And we're fortunate in town. One of our businesses in town, Sure Good Eats, also has a food truck. And Steve, the owner, he and his wife have helped us tremendously in putting that together. They knew things that we wouldn't think about. You know what I mean? And that's really important. So they've really kind of helped us put together. Obviously, they're going to be one of the trucks that's down there as well. They were one of the first people we reached out to. But they have been tremendous in helping us put it together. So we have a little committee put together, some council members, some people who live in town, some employees of the town. It's coming together nicely.
Do you have a favorite kind of antique car? I know you said that thing's in the works, but I mean, what car would you like to see?
One in particular, but I love anything that's late 50s, late 60s. I love Ford, late 50s, late 60s.
I'm thinking Corvette.
I do love the Corvette, but I'm more of an 80s Corvette guy. I like the early 80s Corvette.
Like the Stingray?
Oh, yeah. That's a pretty good. Every time I see one of those, I'm not a huge car guy, but I see one of those 82 to like 85 Corvettes, and I just like, look at that thing.
Very sharp.
But as far as the antique cars, I really enjoy the 1950s, like the Fords and stuff like that. And I love the older Mustangs, the early 60s Mustangs, I think are just beautiful cars to see. I just appreciate usually the size of these cars. These things are boats when you see them.
The older pickup trucks are very cool.
Oh,
yeah, they're very, very
and
cool.
Chevys.
Those are a sight.
We have a couple car enthusiasts in town who will drive their cars around, with a historic license plate and see those old, 50s pickup trucks. And we still have the chain on the tailgate in the back. You have to take the things out and pull them down.
Yep.
Yeah, it's really cool.
It's the kind of trucks you see, like making models. Like growing up, like those car models where you see the old school pickup trucks. And these look pretty cool. And then you see it in person, like, oh wow.
Yep.
Yeah, like I'm not. Some people are very specific with cars. I don't know if you guys both grew up in the area, but the circus driving that used to be in Walton. They used to do antique car shows all the time, and my parents would bring us over, and I just was beautiful. The design of the cars were always just so beautiful.
Right.
You know what I mean? The fact they were made out of solid metal usually.
And those doors were like so long and like just so solid, like boom.
You can get into a car accident with those cars, there'd be no damage. You wouldn't even see those things were so big. They were just boats. So hopefully, fingers crossed, we can get that together. We have a nice little parking lot that I was willing to block off just for those car shows to be in there and encourage people to walk or bike to the food truck festival.
I'll tell you though, one of the food truck food is always good. You get all kinds of different stuff in there, and I think it's fantastic. So I'm looking forward to that. And I want to give a shout out to one of my favorite spots in Neptune City, and that's Carmen's Pizzeria, Pete and Elda's. So
you know what?
Lots of T-shirts and different shirts from there.
I haven't gone. And everybody, it's a thinner crust, right?
Yeah.
And everybody loves it. I feel like I got to go this afternoon. I mean, it's
if you eat a whole double extra large pie, you get a T-shirt, and it's great pizza.
Neptune City, it's an amazing little place. It's a 1 square mile town. Right. Most people confuse us with Neptune Township anyway. They think we're the same town.
Okay.
We get that. But one of the things that people realize is we're like a little foodie town. I mean, we have so many little restaurants in town here. Just recently, a few months ago, I can't remember which website it was, but it says New Jersey towns you wouldn't know have some of the best food. And Neptune City was 3rd on that list.
Wow.
That was on there because of places like Pete and Ella's, because of Kelly's Tavern. I mean, those are two of our staples that we've had for a very long time. We also have Patrick's Grill in town as well. And we have some of the best pizza other places. You got Bruno's Pizzeria, you have Santino's Pizzeria, you have Michael's Grill over there, we have Molinari's, we have Lupa de Roma, all these places down there are fantastic. We have a new vegan bakery in town, Cat's Luck Vegan. I'm not a vegan person myself here, but my friends who are say that it is fantastic. The food that they have there, and so we cater to everybody. Even the local pizzerias have a vegan pizza, for people like that. So we have a lot of that in there. But the food is it really is one of those things that you can come to Neptune City. We can host our own restaurant week, which is something we thought about doing in town.
Why not?
Hosting our own little restaurant week in Neptune City to showcase what we have in town. So, but Pete and Elvis, that's the one. That most people say. I was on my honeymoon in Cancun 20 years ago, and I told somebody I was from New Jersey. And they said, "Oh, what part?" I said, "I'm from Neptune City." Isn't that where Pete Ellis? This guy was from Pennsylvania, but knew of Neptune City because of Pete Ellis. So, what are the chances of that going through? I have a few T-shirts myself too.
Of course, they always come up with creative designs, Jersey Shore themed or sports related themed. So it's great stuff.
So did you say 2 large pizzas? You eat them, and then what happens?
A double extra large.
One double extra large.
One
pizza
double
you
extra
eat by
large.
yourself, you get a T-shirt that says that you did so. And it's very thin crust. So
that's what I'm thinking. If it's thin crust, maybe you can.
It can be pulled off. I mean, you're not going to want to eat probably until later on the next day, but it is
or
a
even in the hours
feat.
before you eat that.
It's a doable feat. I say to people, well, I was like, we can go to Kelly's and try and eat that Reuben as well. I very rarely can people put that down. I think it's like 2.5 pounds of corned beef with like 12 slices of like Swiss cheese and like half a pound of sauerkraut and a few ounces of Russian dressing. It's fantastic, but again, something where I hope you don't have plans later on that night.
You could be the Joey Chestnut of Neptune City.
Right. There you go. We actually had the Kellys used to do that back in the day. Used to do a rude eating contest, the King of the Reuben. It was something. It was like a. You couldn't look away, but you also had to watch at the same time, watching people just eat these things. Like, oh, this is terrible. I feel bad for these people. I can't
but
stop
you gotta
watching.
watch it.
I can't
and they
stop
just
watching.
keep pouring it down.
Yeah. Maybe we can talk them into doing something like that again.
There
We'll
you
see
go.
what happens. But the food in Neptune City is fantastic. We have a lot of business in that little 1 square mile town. We're a busy little throughway, is what I like to say. We're not a shorefront town, but we're a shore town. We're surrounded by Asbury Park and Belmar and Avon and Bradley Beach.
Exactly.
We border with the exception of Asbury Park, we literally border all those towns at some point here. And so if you're going to go to those places, you have to drive through Neptune City to get there.
Sure.
And so we're always trying to showcase people, hey, if you want to come a half a mile west from the shore, there's plenty of places to eat and plenty of places to there's shopping opportunities there. We have a supermarket in town. It really is a busy, bustling little town. Really is.
Before we go to break, your favorite pizza topping?
I'm going to go pepperoni classic. I'm going to go classic pepperoni. I was trying to be unique and different, say mushrooms, but every time I eat mushrooms, it's usually accompanied with pepperoni.
The pepperoni's there.
Yeah, the pepperoni's usually one.
Mushrooms and pepperoni.
Yeah, mushrooms, pepperoni, and onions is what I get when I go to Pete. That's my go-to.
What about black olives?
If they're there, I'll eat them, but I usually don't choose to put them there. My wife likes it, so I'll compromise from time to time.
Yeah, a little extra cheese, a little sausage on top, bacon.
Bacon's always good. I mean, honestly, other than I might get some hate from people. Other than pineapple, I can pretty much eat anything on pizza.
I never understood the pineapple.
I like Hawaiian pie.
My wife's the same way. Everyone, so whenever my mother-in-law comes to visit, they get their Hawaiian pizza to have. I'm like, there you go. You two can have your Hawaiian pizza
separate.
Yeah. I'll just stick to traditional pepperoni.
Nothing wrong with that.
No, not at all.
Want to discuss more about Neptune City and the businesses and everything. Can you hang with us?
Sure.
More Short Time with Vin and Dave and Neptune City Mayor Andrew Wardell right after this.
Hello, this is Chef David Burke on Short Time with Vin and Dave on 94.3 The Point and 105.7 The Hawk. And if you could see us, you'd know the three of us have perfect faces for radio.
Whether you're in the early stages of investing, getting ready to retire, or planning your estate, you need a financial planner who will guide you on a clear path with honesty and transparency. Shoreline Wealth Management understands that you're more than your money, and they strive to help you realize your best life as they align your finances with your goals. Best of all, Shoreline's straightforward approach will include you in the process. Shoreline Wealth Management is your financial anchor, committed to helping you weather life's storms. Visit shorelinewealth.com for more information today. Shorelinewealth.com. Securities offered through LPL Financial, member FINRA SIPC.
Welcome back to Short Time with Vin and Dave. Vin Avenue, Dave Crossan with you. And with us here this hour is the mayor of Neptune City, Andrew Wardell. We've been having some fun talking about things coming up this summer and even into the early fall in Neptune City, as well as pizza and food and all the great restaurants across Neptune City as well. So where are things at? I mean, obviously, thankfully, things are in a much better place on a health standpoint with COVID and everything. But from a business and economic standpoint, how have you seen the restaurants and the businesses kind of endure through some challenges, either COVID related from restrictions to health protocols or to the labor shortage across the state?
Right. Well, one thing, Neptune City has come back quite strongly, and I think a lot of the restaurants have come back pretty strongly as we see that the pandemic, at least, I mean, it still seems to be quite contagious, but it seems to be less what's the word we're looking for? The symptoms seem to be much more mild.
Right.
So people maybe don't have as great a fear. And so the restaurants have definitely come back here. Neptune City, even before the pandemic, we were struggling with business now. We had a lot of empty storefronts in town. Wow. A lot. Business were closed up because online shopping and online business really was hurting that mom and pop storefront going through. But one of the things I really wanted to do when I got in was try to get these buildings filled again and work with the business owners and see what is exactly they're trying to do. And knock on wood, we have seen a number of new businesses pop up in Neptune City.
That's great.
My 3 years, we have a Dunkin Donuts that came into town last summer. It's been about a year now that they've been in town. They came in, and that's tremendously popular. We actually had an entire complex that was empty for years. I mean, it really kind of became. I saw one of our property owners in town and business owner in town actually bought that entire complex and has now filled every one of those storefronts.
Wow.
So we went from having almost an entire empty building, with the exception of maybe one or two stores for, I'm talking years, is now a hustling and bustling business with restaurants. There's a dance studio there. There's a pet grooming area in there. And also we have the business complex, or a business called Uniserve, where they do like uniforms and stuff like that for different companies here. And so just seeing that in the center of our town really kind of going again has really been a wonderful thing to see. I mean, we, since I was elected in 2020, we have seen, I want to say, just shy of 80 new businesses in town. We have at least new mercantile licenses. I've gotten assigned 80 new mercantile licenses that we got assigned, which means that businesses coming into town. And that's not just a testament to Neptune City. That's the whole area really seems to be thriving. One of the things you mentioned too, and I know this is still a problem, is shortage in employees.
Right.
I have yet to meet a single business who hasn't told me that hasn't affected them. that they're having a very hard time finding people. When they do, very hard time retaining people. People tend to be jumping from job to job because they're looking for better pay. Now, I don't begrudge anybody from looking for better pay, but some of these small businesses have a hard time keeping up with people's pay. I have one business town, and I'm not going to mention who they are, but they said that their employees are now making more money than they are. Because they said, well, I'm paying these people hourly to stay here. Actually breaks down to them probably making more money they take home than I do, because I got to put something back into the business. He's like, no, I would never stay down. That's not their fault, and I wouldn't even be able to do this without them. He's like, but that's a real problem. He's like, and you're trying not to increase your costs. But it's almost impossible. We've seen what's happened with inflation across the country.
Oh my goodness, yeah.
We weren't immune to that as well in Neptune City. I mean, our costs went up exponentially. Just this year, as we were putting our budget together, we have I think it was about $270,000 more in expenses we were going to be taking on as compared to the previous year. We're a small town with a $7 million and change budget.
Right.
So that's a big increase.
Yeah.
That's a big increase. I mean, we were able to do some moves economically to cut some of that back, so to move it on to taxpayers. And the average taxpayer is going to see a very small to some no increase in their taxes, thank God, because we've been really fiscally responsible. I don't know what next year is going to hold. We have to be careful not to pull our eggs in one basket this year. So that's definitely one of the concerns I have moving forward, is the economics moving forward. Perfect example, we had our contract with our recycling and garbage pickup. That is a 5-year contract. And unfortunately for us, our 5-year contract expired in 21. So, and while we're the height of inflation, and our contract actually increased by more than 40% than what we were paying the year before.
Wow.
So, you don't budget for that. You can't budget for a 40% increase. You just you don't expect that. You budget for an increase, but not usually 40%. So we actually had to go out, for bid and hold a special meeting just so we can approve that bid. And we looked into things like, well, we could, instead of picking up garbage twice a week, maybe we do it once a week.
Right.
Well, maybe instead of picking up recycling twice a month, we do it once a month. But our residents don't want that. They don't want to lose services here. So you try to do that balance of keeping the services high and also trying to keep taxes low. Anybody who lives in Monmouth County knows we're some of the highest property tax, not only in New Jersey, but in the country, if you look around. So you don't want to burden your residents any more than they already are.
Right.
And that's my primary goal. That's the primary goal, I think, of really any elected official, is to best serve their constituents without reaching too deep into their pockets. And that's really what I keep trying to do moving forward. And we've been fortunate that we've been able to do some things. I have some great staff working around me that helps me out a lot as well. But that's definitely, an issue that we're going to deal with. And unfortunately, I don't see it changing anytime soon. This is usually cyclical. Anybody who knows history, and as you guys told me when I came in, I teach history. Our economy moves in cycles. Our history moves in cycles. This is not different than anything I've seen before in history. But it takes time to start going the other way.
Are you seeing more foot traffic, or do you think what would your message be to not just residents of Neptune City, but people driving through Neptune City, with trying to help support some of the local businesses and restaurants?
Right. Well, first thing, anybody driving through Neptune City, please slow down.
Right.
It's amazing how fast people drive in that town. Sometimes it scares me. Because as you said, foot traffic, we have a lot of traffic with automobiles, but we have a ton of people riding their bikes and walking and running through town, because it's beautiful. We're right by the beach. People take that to the beach, whether they take it by car or take it by bike, they're going to go that way. We try to advertise our businesses as much as possible. One of my fellow members on council, Brian Thomas, our council president, and Daniel Pappas, former council president, together came up with the idea of this Neptune City Business Connection, in which they have created like a website, they created a Facebook or social media, they advertise what's going on, and these businesses can actually be part of that, and they can post on there as well to advertise things that are going on, to try and reach a bigger market and some of that. And we're always trying to highlight our business in town. We do like a decorating contest every year, Christmas decorating contests and some of that, Halloween decorating contests, and the local business will supply gift cards as prizes for that. So we'll try to advertise them as well, because when your businesses do well, the town tends to do better as well. So we are always trying to highlight and tell people what we have here in town, let them know. Most people, when they think of Neptune City, not familiar, you have to pretty much drive down Route 35. It cuts right through the heart of our town. So we have businesses lined up all along Route 35. You'll see, but there are some places a little more off the beaten path that are fantastic that we're trying to get those people to come to as well. So that's really one of the things I'm trying to highlight, and that's why I keep talking about them here on the radio. The other people hear it.
Quick side note, because obviously you mentioned your history and civics teacher at Monmouth Regional. How did the school year go? How have you made that adjustment as a teacher with either remote learning, in-person learning, any kind of COVID things, and where is your optimism going into the next school year?
That's a good question. So this was our first year back fully non-remote in classrooms, and and also we were able to remove the mask. What we chose back in March, which I know maybe some people weren't comfortable with, but I thought it was fantastic because it was finally when you're a teacher. All right, you need to see your students' faces. You have to see their faces. You have to see expressions. You have to see their faces. I can tell a lot more by looking at a student's face than anything they actually say to me. Because a lot of times kids, they internalize things, but it's hard to hide facial expressions. So I was very thankful and happy about that. It was a unique school year. To all my fellow teachers out there, you know what I'm talking about. The kids, for 2 years now have either been remote or they've been hybrid, and they've been home, and they haven't really had to follow traditional rules of school, and it was a bit of an adjustment getting kids to realize no, you can't just say whatever you want whenever you feel like saying what you want. No, you can't just get up and walk away and go get a snack because you're going to get a snack. We're getting back into traditional things. So it was a rough year for school teachers here. I teach at the high school level. I can't imagine if you're a kindergarten teacher, your first year with your kindergarten or first grade kids, or even the earlier primary grades. These kids didn't learn those basic classroom behavior. And social abilities for 2 years. Those are your years that you're really supposed to get it. I saw firsthand that there has been some loss in education. I saw it firsthand. And I don't blame my students. I feel bad for them. I know teachers get frustrated, why can't these kids do this? I'm like, well, because they didn't really have a formal education for almost a year and a half to 2 years. And you're going to see the effects of it. I think we're going to see it for a while. I love my job. But I'm not going to lie, I didn't say this is the first year where I very much welcomed the last day of school. I very much welcomed it. And I think even the students were like, yeah, we need a little bit of a break from each other, I think. So I think as years go, you'll see that get better moving forward. Actually, while I was waiting to get in here, I was looking at my roster for next year. So, let me take a look and see if I have any students I know for next year. So I look forward to it. I love my job. I do love my job. I am passionate about being an educator. Been doing it for 10 years now. And I love teaching. And we mentioned civics. Civics was something I had to fight for. We had no civics program at Monmouth Regional. And as a teacher of history, I quite often will make references to something that is, that's government related. And deer in headlights, these blank looks I would get on students' faces. And you don't have a basic understanding of how government works, some of these kids. They just don't. And I realized it's not really taught at any level. And so I reached out to my administration and said this is something that I would like to do. And thank God they're on board.
They were on board with curriculum. It's great.
I'm the only one who teaches civics right now. It's considered an elective at the time. I'm working towards getting that as maybe becoming something that could be used as a to fulfill a requirement for graduation. But this was an interesting year to do it. There was a lot going on in terms of government, particularly with the Supreme Court. I had to do use a lot of things to use real life situations to talk about, how government works and how each one of these branches work. But it's not just the federal level. I spent state and I spent a lot of time on local government. As you can imagine, I'm a little passionate about local government, all right, because I live it. And so I spent a lot of time teaching that. So I really enjoy getting to do that. And I had some wonderful friends in government who were willing to come and speak to my class.
Oh, there you go.
I had Commissioner Arnone came and spoke to my class. Sheriff Golden spoke to my class. Assemblywoman Paperno, Assemblywoman Allner came and spoke to my class here. I had Senator Vingo Powell lined up, and then it just didn't work out. So I told Senator, "You're first one next year."
There you go.
We didn't get to do it this year. All right, and they got to come into the classroom, which was great. No more virtual. These guys got to actually
That's even better.
Yeah, and so it really worked out very well. So I'm looking forward to next year, but I'm not gonna lie if I didn't say I'm enjoying myself right now.
Time for some R&R.
It was okay. It was a well-needed rest and relaxation. But by the time usually August comes around, I start getting ready. I start working on lesson plans. I get excited for it again.
I think it's great because I think everybody, students of all ages should know at least the very basics at a minimum of how local, state, and federal government works. With who's where and how you get elected and the whole process and everything. I think it's important. I think it's something that everybody should know, by the time they leave high school.
Yeah, agreed. And not just the kids here. I mean, even people out in public. I tell people all the time, people don't pay attention to local politics and local government. They don't pay attention to it. They're on TV. You see Biden, you see Congress, you see this, and that's where everybody's focusing. I'm not saying that's not important. It's important. But if you really want to get involved in something that's going to have the most impact on your day-to-day life, it's your local government.
Yeah.
Your local government is going to make decisions that are going to immediately affect you. And so therefore you should be as knowledgeable as possible. And I've always kind of led that way since I've been involved in government. I want to have more government. I believe in civic engagement. So when I became mayor, I had system put in for our council meetings so they can be streamed on Facebook Live. So people who maybe, hey, I can't come to me, but I want to be able to do it. They're not only recorded, but you can watch them in live time as well. You can comment. We can't answer during that time period. I know some people are like, I'd like to be able to participate. You can't do that yet. Maybe that might change in the future, but that's not allowed by state law even to participate that way since the COVID restrictions were lifted. But I try very much to tell people that you need to know more. And I'm an open book. You have a question, ask me. I cannot tell you how many residents have my personal phone number. I say, call me if you're confused about something. That's why I'm involved in this. I actually really enjoy this.
Right.
I like being able to help people. I like being able to answer questions. I like educating people. So I try to use that teaching in all aspects of my life. As mayor, let me teach you a little bit about how local government works and maybe get you involved and get you interested.
Well, sure, yeah. Students, hey, adults, I mean, with voter turnout just anywhere, it's so down the last few years too, and everybody's saying, oh, this and that. Well, you learn more. You go out and vote. Mm-hmm.
A lot of people have important. That mentality that my one vote doesn't matter.
Yeah,
I'm like,
right.
Yeah, I was like, when I first ran for council in 2015, my running mate ended up in a tie.
Oh, wow.
He ended up in a tie. And actually, originally he had lost by one vote, but one of the votes that had been thrown out, provisional vote was thrown out, was a good vote. I mean, we had to go to court, and they had to decide, yes, it was a good vote, it was tied, and he had to have a runoff election. So tell me one vote doesn't matter.
Exactly. Yeah.
Tell me one vote doesn't matter.
It does.
Especially in your local election. Of course it matters. It does. Because you think of yourself as one vote, but if you have other like-minded people who think like you do, you're more than one vote. You have a lot of power.
Sure.
In that sense. Use it. Be involved.
Yeah. Every election matters every year.
It always amazes me. There are places around the world where the right to vote would be something that they would absolutely love to have a say in their government. And I feel as Americans we take that for granted. Too many people have a very negative outlook, I think, on this country in general. We're not perfect, but I still think we're probably the freest and fairest country in the world. And it kind of really upsets me when I hear people really badmouth the United States of America. You are allowed to be angry. You are allowed to criticize. You are allowed to protest. I encourage all that. But sometimes I say, maybe you should also realize how fortunate you are to live where you live. And so I try to make people realize, yeah, you're right. You should be angry about this. Do something about it, right? But don't just sit there and be like, well, nothing's going to change and America's terrible.
Right.
Well, it will be if that's the attitude you're going to take towards it.
And if you're happy with how things are going, keep voting.
Yeah. I say, that is our biggest power as a populace is our ability to vote. It is a powerful tool. All these people who make decisions about you are put there by the people.
Yeah.
And you get to say whether they stay there or not. That's an amazing power. Amazing power that you don't see throughout all of the world. You don't, even today. I mean, you see it more commonplace than it probably was centuries ago. But, there's not a single American over the age of 18 years old, with the exception of maybe some criminals, who don't have the right to vote. And it's sad when you see 28% exercise that right to vote. I mean, presidential elections, you get huge turnouts.
Oh, yeah, always.
Elections, But you get an election next year in 23. I think in our district, I think it's assembly, state assembly might be the highest. So a lot of times that tends to be low voter turnout. You're like, well, these elections aren't important. I argue those are the most important elections.
Yeah.
Those are the ones right there.
Local and
the
state
ones where
elections.
people don't show up, and that's where people maybe shouldn't kind of like to get elected. Right? And so that's when you should be paying attention.
Right.
And I'm up in 23. I'm one of those people that are out there. You know what I mean? So I might be encouraging people to vote against me right now. I don't know, but that's the democratic process. Do you know what I mean? So people should take advantage of that.
And we've had a great conversation this morning, both on things going on in Neptune City, summer, fall, different activities, and of course, definitely appreciate your perspective as a history and civics teacher at Monmouth Regional too. So I think it's been a very well-rounded dialogue this morning.
It's been fun.
So thanks for coming in.
My pleasure.
Really appreciate your time. Thank you so much,
guys. I had a great time. Anytime. I appreciate the opportunity.
Yeah. Hey, you're welcome back. We'll have to do some if we do it in the fall or winter. We'll have to do it in after school hours.
Yeah. Well,
there you go. You're right.
And this time I'll remember to bring some Pete and Ellis for you. Okay.
I think I have to check it out sooner than later.
Yeah.
I mean, everybody's somebody go. Got to do it.
Yeah, it'll have to be a weekend thing.
That's my short way of getting reinvited
Get together
back
on
by
the
offering
weekends.
food. That usually works out pretty well.
And then we'll have you on a Sunday show.
There you go. Perfect.
That is Neptune City Mayor Andrew Wardell discussing all things Neptune City. And as a history and civics teacher, what's going on in Monmouth Regional and on a school front and on a government front as well. So make sure you get out there and vote. Thanks again to Neptune City Mayor Andrew Wardell.
Thank you.
More Short Time with Vin and Dave coming up next.
Hi, this is Southside Johnny from the Asbury Jukes, and you are listening to Short Time with Vin and Dave on 94.3 The Point and 105.7 The Hawk. And I'm in the Hall of Fame.
Whether you're in the early stages of investing, getting ready to retire, or planning your estate, you need a financial planner who will guide you on a clear path with honesty and transparency. Shoreline Wealth Management provides clarity through the complexity with offices in Manchester and Manahawkin. Shoreline Wealth Management is your financial anchor. Visit shorelinewealth.com for more information and start your financial journey with comfort and security today. Shorelinewealth.com. Securities offered through LPL Financial, member FINRA, SIPC.
Welcome back to Short Time with Vin and Dave. Vin Ebeneu, Dave Crossan with you. And we just had Neptune City Mayor Andrew Wardell with us discussing what's going on in Neptune City this summer, year-round, and certainly getting his expertise as a history and civics teacher at Monmouth Regional High School. So it was a great guest to have him on. Dave talking about the Movie in the Park series and obviously the backup plan in case it rains, where people can go indoors. All the great restaurants. He mentioned that Neptune City, one of the best, I forget what magazine it was, one of the best small towns.
I had no idea
Neptune City
about these
for
restaurants. Yeah, this is
like
great.
All over. So I mean, there's, you go up and down Route 35, or you venture a little bit over in Neptune City.
Yeah.
There's lots of great places to eat, lots of great things to do.
And also, too, I thought was very encouraging about that one area. I don't know if it's a strip mall, but that now somebody took it on, and all these businesses have now stepped in, where it sounded like for many, many years there was no activity. There was nobody renting these different spots. And to see people coming in, businesses and whatnot, that's encouraging. I mean, obviously, we talked about other issues that you can't control right now, labor shortages and inflation, different things that that we're all dealing with. But it's encouraging to see these different businesses and taking the risk, if you will, to go on these journeys and to go in that area. And he's doing a great job, and you could just tell the enthusiasm and the excitement for what he does and the importance of that community. And
Mayor Andrew Wardell has an official Facebook page, Mayor Andrew Wardell on Facebook. He's always posting stuff, or you can go to NeptuneCityNJ.com to find out about different things going on in the borough, from restaurants to businesses, different events going on. And I know he was pulling for Little Giants, too, as a movie in the park.
That's right.
That's such a great movie.
Well, I love the fact that he puts out there choices for people can say,
I
want this movie or that movie. It's not like, here's the list, and people are like, oh, boo, don't like that movie. There's options there. I love that. Let people decide,
Yeah, exactly. Hey, all family-friendly type movies, too, so it's great. Lots to do in Neptune City, and we've got more to do on the show this morning, Dave. We've got your financial wake-up call coming up next. And then we have a real good story, or a true story, from Regina Mullen, who's going to discuss the tragedy that happened with her son and some of the answers that she's looking for. But looking forward to having her in here to discuss so much. So we got more of the show on deck. Grab that second round of coffee. We got more Short Time with Vin and Dave next.
Hi, this is Christy Pierce-Rampone, former U.S. women's soccer team captain, Olympic gold medalist, World Cup champion, and Point Borough High School alum. And you're listening to Short Time with Vin and Dave on 94.3 The Point and 105.7 The Hawk. Tune in for some real conversation with Dave and Vin. You don't want to miss this.